Hello friends, my name is Xabi. I'm from the beer culture team and I'm here today to carry on a beer tasting, but a proper one, a proper beer tasting. Okay, so let's go for it. Many of you may already know, but perhaps some others are wondering where about this Estrella Galicia brewery is. So for those of you, I have to tell that we are placed in A Coruña. Where is A Coruña? You can Google it. We are placed in the northwest of Spain, in this beautifully rainy Atlantic coast of Spain, in the region of Galicia. All of our beers are brewed here. We only have one brewery. And all of our beers were born in the past year, because we've been here for 114 years. We are a family-owned company, 100% family-owned and 100% family-run company. And I think that's more or less a very quick resume of what we are. I think it's time for tasting beer, isn't it? Okay, so before the tasting, we need to check we have everything we need for the tasting. Okay, what do we need for a beer tasting? Obviously, we need a glass. What else do we need for a beer tasting? For a beer tasting, we need a beer, of course. And if the beer comes in a bottle, for a beer tasting, we'll need a bottle opener, right? With all this, we are all ready. Okay. I said any glass, don't worry too much. I have a Teku glass. This is a Teku goblet. It was designed in 2006, I think. It was designed by two Italians. This is just general knowledge. Teo Muso, beer master at Birrificio Baladin, and Lorenzo Dabove, I think, also known as Quasca. Teo, Quasca, Teku. Easy. This glass is ideal. It's perfect for tasting beer. That's why it is so popular today. But don't worry if you don't have this kind of glass. You can use any glass you have at home, right? Main thing today is to enjoy. So, what kind of glass, if you have several kind of glasses, ideally could be a wine goblet, for example, like this, or smaller, but wine goblet is good. If not, any glass could do today, right? So relax about that. There are many shapes of glasses. There are classic shapes for classic styles. There are new designs today. There are designs focused on enhancing some characteristics of the beer. Carbonation, color, haziness, complexity of the beer, session and drinkability character. But all those shapes and all those kinds of glasses have one thing in common. All of them have to be clean. Beer clean. We don't want any bubbles stuck to the glass, right? It's got to be clean. Okay, so at home you can get a perfectly clean glass. How? Clean cloth or clean sponge. Okay, it's not worth if you have just used it for to clean an oily saucepan. Obviously, it's got to be clean. So we make sure it's clean, and after that, rinse it thoroughly and dry it with a dry and clean cloth. Right. With that, you will get a perfectly clean glass for beer. Right. Time to drink. Yeah. So what are we tasting today? Estrella Galicia Especial, okay, which is a Galician lager, but inspired in the German brewing tradition, the German brewing school. All of our beers are of German inspiration, right? Before the tasting, just a quick look at the label. It says ingredients: water, barley malt, maize, hops. Water from A Coruña, of course. The water in A Coruña has the perfect chemical composition for brewing this beer. Okay? We don't change the chemical composition of our water because it's almost identical to the Pilsen City water, okay? Which is, by the way, where all the light color lagers were originated. What else? Barley malt, 2 raw spring barley malt. We use 2 malts, Pilsen malt, very low color malt, which gives the nutrient to the yeast, and roasted malt, a chocolate malt, which gives aroma, flavor, and color. What else? Maize. Maize is an adjunct. Okay, it's an unmalted cereal. That's what it means. We can use different adjuncts in beers depending on what you want to get in your beer. In our case, maize decreases somehow the maltiness in the beer. We imagine we change a little bit, not much, but a little bit of the malt and put the maize instead. Maltiness decreases. Somehow refreshing character increases. Drinkability in a session lager like this one increases very subtly. Okay, that's the main objective of maize. And hops. We use 2 different hops. A bittering hop, which is Nugget, American origin, but it is the main crop in Spain, and it's the main crop in Galicia, because we are very proud saying that we use Galician hops. So all the Galician hop crop is for Estrella Galicia. And the other hop we use is a German pale aroma hop. Right. Finally, it's not here because it's the secret ingredient. It's not because of that, but we cannot see yeast here, which is the 4th ingredient, because there's no yeast anymore in this bottle. That's why it isn't here. Yeast is the being, the living being that transforms what? Into beer. Sugars, proteins, into CO2, alcohol, and aroma and flavors. So it is the magic, it is the alchemy in the process. And having said this, I think it's time to taste. So, at last, time for tasting. But before tasting, I want just to explain the few steps we are going to follow. Think that the tasting is a process where we get information from the product, from the beer, with our senses. So we need to follow some steps in order to use the different senses. Okay? First of all, we'll look at the beer. Secondly, we will smell. And in the last place, we will sip and taste the beer. Okay? That's more or less the different steps we're going to follow. Maybe we won't be using all of our senses today, but in the next tastings, we will probably. Okay? Don't worry about the serve. Okay? Don't worry about the serve. We are not talking about a perfect serve today. That's by the way, that's my cup. Yeah. Sorry, beer. Perfect serve is not the main thing today. We want to serve for a tasting, and that is very easy, and that should be always the same. Okay? Which is vertically straight glass, 5 centimeters high, slowly. We want to create some foam because we want to assess the foam. Okay? This is it. Perfect. Okay. Now it's time to taste. So let's taste. Remember, first step, information we get through the eyes. Okay, so what we can see here is a super white foam, small size of bubbles, not as small as to say a creamy foam, but really small size of bubbles. It is a bit condensed now, but we get the condensation out. We can see, maybe, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, it's totally transparent. Okay, there's no haziness in it. Some beers are hazy because they are like that, but not in our case. It is a lager and it is a filtered lager, so it's got to be crystal clear, so to speak. Okay, so color. It is a light lager, of course, but there's some golden haze in it. I mean, there are lighter lagers when you use only Pilsen malt, for example. In our case, remember, we use roasted malt, a chocolate malt, to give it, even though it is a light lager, to give it that roasted twist, a bit more of maltiness or complexity, right? So things we can see. Next step would be things we can smell. Okay, so for that, I want you to make short sniffs, not too long, but we are going to begin with short sniffs from a distance, just in case there's some very volatile element here, and then we can get closer. For those of you that want to get even more sensations, you can also put your hands on top. This is not wine. I mean, we don't need to swirl it too hard, but you can put your hand on top and later and move a little bit, concentrate the aroma and smell. Okay, but we are starting from 15 centimeters. Short sniffs. Okay, I can smell something already, some maltiness here, but I can get closer. Okay, it is not super intense for two reasons. It is a lager. I didn't say this. This is for another video, perhaps another day. Lager fermentation doesn't produce as much fermentation flavors. That's why lager beers have a cleaner flavor profile, more elegant, cleaner, subtle flavor profile. Okay? So what we get in a lager is primary flavors. That is flavors from the malts, the cereals, flavors from the hops. That's what we get here. It is not very intense either because it is a 5.5%, not too intense in alcohol, not too intense in raw materials, therefore, and it is a light lager, so there isn't a lot of roastiness in it. So I say it's not super intense, but there is some complexity. In a lager or a light lager like this, we usually find in different intensities and different balances, but we find maltiness and hoppiness. Okay, here that's what we find with a balance. The malty side is reminds you of bread, perhaps not white bread or duff, but maybe bread or even almost bread crust. So we can think of aromas. Okay, we are in the bottom of those roasty aroma flavors, but not in the total bottom, but on the second step. Okay. On the other side of the balance, we have the hoppiness. We use nugget hops for bittering hop, okay, which is the main hop crop in Spain, the main hop crop in Galicia, and also we use a German pearl aroma hop. Central Europe hops are like lager fermentations, are subtle, not too noisy. They smell of herbs, white flowers, but always very elegant and very subtle. Okay, that's what we get here in this balance between bready maltiness and herbal and flowery hoppiness. Okay, alcohol is not very intense. We can concentrate it, but it won't be very intense in the nose. No, and at last we can sip. But before we sip, just one small sip to get the mouth used to the flavors, the temperature, the carbonation. And with the small one, we are going to look for basic tastes. That is sweetness, that is saltiness. There won't be saltiness, but acidic, they say bitterness. Yeah, those basic flavors, mouthfeel sensations, and also flavors like the aromas we could feel before. Okay, so one small sip. Perfect. We are ready now. A bigger sip, and for 10 seconds we will move it around our mouth. Okay, I can feel some sweetness at the beginning. Also later, but it starts only with sweetness. But after that, there is the bitterness coming up from the background. increasing somehow and getting the main role in this picture, in this film. Okay. After a while, bitterness is what we feel. It is a bitterness, but it is a gentle bitterness, round bitterness, not very aggressive, not very sharp. Okay, integrated, nice bitterness. We call it repetition bitterness because when you like bitterness, you feel that sensation and you say, after a few seconds, say, I want some more. Okay. Good. What else? I can feel a medium body. I can feel the carbonation, not very intense either. And I can feel the warm mouthfeel, or not mouthfeel, or the warm sensations when I swallow. That's because of the alcohol and the maltiness. Not too hard, not too intense. A very comfortable, very nice, warm mouthfeel. Also, the aftertaste is quite long, quite hoppy in that bitter, but also in that herbal feelings, okay, herbal sensations. Right, so to make it quick, we have our interpretation of Hell's Export beer, okay, with 2 malts, the roasted always, even for a light lager, because we like that extra complexity. We use maize, yes, because maize somehow helps giving drinkability or session character to a beer that is, its destiny is to be a session lager. Bittering hops, nugget, aroma hops, pearl, herbal, flowery. This warm mouthfeel, not very intense carbonation, that is, in resume, the perfect session lager. So this is it. We finished the tasting, a very quick tasting. I hope you enjoyed. There will be more tastings with different beers. And now I only have one more thing to say. I have to say I enjoyed very much. I have to say I'm willing to see you again. And only I want to toast. And please stay at home, stay safe. And very soon we will again toast together in a bar. So cheers.